Well, good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Mike Simon. I certainly hope you're enjoying your day today. I know it's a bit gray and it's a little bit chilly too, but temperatures are warming up into the 40s. Wanted to inform you of what could be coming this evening. It all depends on where you live and what type of precipitation you're going to get, because this is not a cut and dry situation to where we can say it's going to snow only or it's going to rain only. There's a mixture that is possible, and that's a wintry mix. First of all, we're going to highlight that it's a weather impact alert. And this is starting 7 o'clock this evening, going through 7 o'clock in the morning on Friday. Now, the impact is certainly going to be slick roads and possibility of some accumulated ice in some cases, so that could be treacherous if you end up getting that, and that's why we have an impact alert. It's mainly going to be the plateau in the northern areas, though, that are affected. Doesn't mean you can't see any other types of precipitation happen in spots briefly at times elsewhere, and I'll show you that coming up. Also, you want to make sure you use lots of caution on area roadways, since we are getting a mixture of wintry precipitation. Snow, sleet, freezing rain, all of it could happen in certain areas, all along with the rain too. And the roads, well, they're going to be slicker at bridges and overpasses here later on tonight, as temperatures are going to be close to freezing, if not below in some cases. So you want to make sure you slow down, use more precaution when you end up being on the bridges and overpasses. There is an advisory issued now, and it did end up getting expanded across the area. I'm going to go ahead and full screen that one for you so you can see who's affected. Winter weather advisory goes through 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, and it includes the Cumberland Plateau. These counties are included. Cumberland, Fentress, Morgan County now is included. Scott, Campbell, Anderson County, very close to Knox County. Then you have Claiborne County, Hancock County, and Hawkins, all included in that. Those are the counties right along the Kentucky and the Virginia lines. And of course, you go past that up into Kentucky, our Kentucky counties are included as well, and Virginia counties too, due to the potential for some wintry weather. At the moment, we just have cloud cover. Had some returns on radar, you can see them there, but I'm really not concerned about that. I think none of that's actually reaching the ground. It's just virga, what we call virga. It evaporates before it actually makes it to the ground, and that's just a preliminary pickup of the radar. Everything else is pretty much back to our west and still developing to the southwest, and you can see it there. Snow moving already into parts of northern Memphis and the Boot Hill of Missouri. Lots of rain too along with that, and it's going to build as it ends up migrating toward us later on this evening. Now, current temperatures, well, they are warming up. Most of us in the valley anyway have surpassed 40 degrees. We may make it up into the lower to middle 40s today. Now, it is still colder back over the plateau, higher elevations and northward in the 30s. Might make it up to the upper 30s to right around 40 degrees before temperatures begin to fall after sunset. And since the moisture is coming in after sunset, that's why we believe there's going to be a mixture of things that are happening. So forecast highs, middle 40s to lower 40s, and there'll be 30s back over the plateau. Forecast lows tonight, here's the key. A lot of folks are getting down below freezing over the plateau and northward near freezing. So anything that comes down, even if it's a mix, a slushy sleet mix, it could freeze and we could have slick spots on the roadways. There might also be a little bit of a glaze from some freezing rain. That's just normal rain that freezes on contact with the surface if it is freezing with what it hits. Now, I'm going to go and show you the progression of this time frame. This is a Futurecast model, and it's a projection of what could very well happen, but there are several different ones we look at. This one seems to be the most plausible at the moment. If you go to 6 o'clock p.m., you can start to see a little moisture begin to edge its way into the plateau, and some of that gets into the valley too. But then by 10 o'clock, just a couple hours later through 10 o'clock, it starts to change over. We have temperatures falling, we have cooler air trying to make its way in, and we have some snow where it's purple that could be falling northern part of the plateau and up near the Kentucky line. And of course, in Kentucky and Virginia. The pink, that's where the mix comes in of sleet and freezing rain possible. And where you see that, that yellow is most likely sleet mixed in with the rain. That shows up as a higher return a lot of times because, of course, those particles are larger. And then rain southward of there will be primarily what we notice into the Central Valley, Southern Valley, and back toward the mountains at lower elevations. As we go through time through tonight, you can see that eventually moves on, but those areas continue to get the possibility of the spotty sleet, snow mix, and eventually some all snow for some of us to the north. Now 7 a.m. we'll have still some lingering showers, especially back toward the mountains. It'll be light rain, and then that moves on and we have gray skies and chilly temperatures left over for the rest of our Friday. Now let me explain a little bit wintry precipitation on how you get such differences. Well, first of all comes down to snow. I mean, it's way up above us, it's too cold, it's snowing. Now, as that falls, it'll melt. And it'll melt because there's warmer air here closer to the surface. So it comes all as rain if we have the whole column being warm air with no cold air anywhere. So that is how we get the rain. We also can have some freezing rain. Now, rains, the snow goes through the cold air, meets the warm air, melts all the rain, but it's cold at the surface. It's freezing or below. Surface objects especially can freeze faster than the ground. So you'll get freezing rain. The water freezes on contact with the surface and creates a glaze of ice. We all know how bad that is. And then there's sleet. Sleet's a different animal because there's a warm layer of air trapped between two cold layers. So the snow starts falling through the cold air, gets to the warm air, partially melts, then it refreezes as it encounters more cold air before it makes it to the ground. And that comes as sleet, kind of partially melted, then congealed snowflakes that come together to produce that sleet. And then, of course, the last, just plain old snow. If it's cold enough through the column to continue to snow, it's going to snow. Now, if the ground is too warm, then it just melts on contact, and we don't really get an accumulation. But a lot of times, if it snows enough, well, that can cause it to change the ground temperature and eventually would build up. And we're not thinking that so much because the areas that are expected to get the snow and the mixture, well, it's already cold enough on the ground, so there could be some accumulation there. Here are the potential impacts. Now, this graphic made by one of our meteorologists, Cassie Nall, and all of us, of course, are working in tandem as a team to come up with what could potentially happen here this evening based on all of our experiences, model data, and such. The wintry mix of light snow, sleet, freezing rain could cause the slick roads primarily in that orange zone there, that orange polygon, I guess you would call it. Now, where you see the purple, that's primarily snow. We're going to get snow up in the north, a northern plateau, Kentucky, and some of the northern counties close to Virginia. But where you see the orange polygon, that circle sort of, it's going to be a higher chance for some mix. You'll just at times have varying types of precipitation that happen, such as freezing rain, sleet, snow, maybe just regular old rain, all mix in, and it could cause some slushy conditions for sure. Now, if it comes down all as sleet, then it builds up and it can turn to ice once it refreezes. Everywhere you see in the green, well, that's pretty much going to be all rain. We're not having any travel issues outside of just a cold rain that can cause some travel problems. Now, potential rainfall, or potential snowfall rather, about a ½ inch to an inch possible where you see it shaded darker blue. So there could be some spots that get up to an inch, and it may not just be all snow, by the way. It could be also a little sleet mixed in. And if there's any freezing rain, there might be a glaze over the top of that snow that can certainly cause to be slick. A dusting to a ½ inch is possible back over the Cumberland Plateau. And then also, we could get some spotty mixes. I wanted to point that out because even if you are in the Central Valley, there may be at times, oh, hey, got some sleet mixed in here in this rain, or that's grapple, or hey, I see a flake or two. Don't be worried. I believe that's not going to cause too many problems because it should melt. The air temperatures are going to be too warm in those places above freezing from right about I-40 southward. So if you see that mix and stuff, yeah, it is concerning, but I think the roads are going to be okay in those areas because it probably won't have any effect. It's going to be all rain. Plus, whatever's coming in, it will eventually warm up and change to all rain in those places. So it's primarily the northern areas that we're concerned with the most that could cause the problems, and that's going to last through early in the morning on Friday. So we have a 70% chance of this moisture coming in. It's probably going to come in through this evening after sundown, and it will last through early morning Friday morning. That's a 60% chance you see there. The rest of Friday is going to shape up, except we're going to have some pretty gloomy conditions. It's going to be mostly cloudy throughout the day on Friday, and a high temperature is only going to make it to 44 degrees. You see the low temperature expected about 35 at the airport. That's the reason why if you see any sleet or any type of wintry precipitation mixed in with the rain in some spots in the Central Valley or south, it's not going to really cause any issues because the temperature is just too warm. It won't stick, it won't stay frozen or freeze. And then Saturday morning, it's 38 degrees. So there's no potential for refreeze, at least in those areas that are outside the higher elevations. We have a good weekend coming up, though. About a 50-degree temperature on Saturday is not bad, still below average. Sunday late into Monday, we do have a potential for some moisture from a system that will be skirting just south of us, so it may barely clip us with the northern edge of it. And then we have sunshine returning next week, and it's looking a little better through the middle of the week. But we're going to continue to have updates for you, not only here, but of course on WBAR at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. Our Chief Meteorologist Todd Howell will be here, man in the post, and also the other meteorologists will be assisting with other duties. So we're all on the ball and working to make sure that you understand what's going to be happening and that you stay safe. I hope you do stay safe this evening. It's best just to not get out if you can. Avoid it. And in the morning, just be very careful when you do have to get out. I'll see you back here again soon. Have a good day.